What is up? Kevin Hill here on this Sunday night, December 21st, 2025. Another round of shots. Doing it up with my man, friends, TB, Davo, Paul, and Adam, the new guy. Adam. Happy Sunday, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. We're gonna talk. Yeah, we're gonna talk volleyball. There was a championship game today that didn't go anywhere near our expectation. Did the men's basketball team, did their ceiling take a whole new level after yesterday's performance, specifically the second half? I want to talk, maybe put some of the guys not on the spot, but get them to talk about this whole NIL-JMI thing. One of our guys here definitely knows a lot more than the rest of us, and I know people who, like on social media, have seen people not really sure what all this means. So we'll try to the guys will add some color, put it in perspective for you. And college football playoffs started Friday, and we'll talk about the two uneventful games that happened yesterday or last night that really went as expected. But here we are. Let's, Dave, I'll start with you. Let's get going. Volleyball. The Kentucky women's volleyball team got swept today in this national championship game. Kentucky was the overall, correct me if I'm wrong, they were the overall number one seed, right? Yeah.
No, they weren't the overall number one.
Oh, they were not.
Nebraska.
Number two.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Nebraska,
So they A&M, I think, beat Kentucky and Nebraska.
Okay.
Along the way.
Yeah,
and they beat another number one seed as well. They pulled like an Arizona in '97, where they beat three.
Texas.
Yeah, they beat three number one seeds to win the championship. So tip your hat to them.
Yeah. Davo, what say you about the women's volleyball?
Yeah, we saw an unbelievable 5-set match Thursday against Wisconsin. So that was super fun. So at least we got to see one win in the Final Four, and then we just ran into what seemed to be an absolute buzzsaw in Texas A&M. They had all those wins, impressive win at Nebraska. They were undefeated. I don't know. It's sad. It sucks. It was an incredible season. We're only losing one senior, but unfortunately, that one senior is Hudson. And, it's just it's
The one senior's the best player.
No, exactly. TB, add to that.
Oh man, I tip my hat to what Coach Skinner has done. They just picked the wrong time to have probably the worst games that they've had in 3 months, right? And so they got by with it the other night against Wisconsin, and Texas A&M built a whole lot of momentum. And sometimes it be like that, but it is always nice to beat Wisconsin in the national semifinal.
We got a suggestion here. Gummy bear.
Inedible.
Inedible. Yep. Paul, go volleyball. What you got?
It just kind of sucked. Was totally unenjoyable to watch. I don't say that to take away from the season, but I mean, they did not look right. Even beating Wisconsin, it looked like they had to use every ounce of whatever they had, and they just got their asses handed to them today. I mean, outside in the first, I don't know, 12, 15 points in the first match, it looked like the wagon was back. They were cruising, and then they just choked it away. They had the first match won handedly. They had match point to win it. They didn't close it. They were up by 6 points, damn near the entire first set until, about the 21, 22 point mark, and couldn't put them away. So, it's a good season, but a very disappointing finish, because I think if you're Kentucky, you are leaving Kansas City knowing you did not give your best in probably either game.
Both games. I'm with you. Adam, what you got?
Yeah, absolutely. Just obviously disappointed with the loss. I feel like, after that first set, once that momentum shifted, they were playing a ton of catch up, and Texas A&M, they had a really good block, set up the middle blockers well. They served well. Kentucky had quite a few service errors, which really hampered them. Texas A&M were going on a good run in that second set, especially that third set as well. When they were up, getting close to championship, Kentucky couldn't really side out where, they get the serve back. And even when they did get the serve back, Texas A&M really kind of responded in their own way with some good kills at the net. They were digging for all the points. So hats off to Texas A&M. They beat a good Pitt team. They swept the Pitt team who had the National Player of the Year. Obviously, we have good players as well. Brooklyn DeLay, Eva, obviously Lizzie Card, middle blocker, just 6'6", like she's got the range and everything like that. But they just found a way past it. A lot of also touches that went out on us, and it was just their day. So, but I do like the consistency. I like, how they're constantly competitive, staying in games, but, you just didn't have it today. And unfortunately, that's how it goes in volleyball sometimes.
That's how it goes. That's how the ball bounces. Yeah, great season. They were on I want to say, if I heard right, 27 game win streak too.
28, yeah.
28.
They'd only lost. They were 8-1, losing the first set this season as well.
Yeah,
hell of a time to go get your second one.
Yeah, hell of a time. All right, so yeah, kudos, shout out, all the good stuff to the volleyball team. Great season. Let's shift gears to another round ball, the orange one. Our Cats played St. John's yesterday in the CBS Sports Classic in Catlanta. Tale of two halves, that cliche line, where I tell you what, to be honest, I stopped watching the game with 5 minutes left in the first half. It was to me, it was dog shit. It was ugly. Blah. And
so you're the jinx.
Well, no, I mean, as a fan, I sucked it up. And once I realized the second half started, I had to tune in. And what I tuned in for, I was definitely pleasantly surprised, guys. I think I text Paul or the group, man, is this really what we look like when we have two healthy starters back in the lineup, in the rotation? Davo, start with you. Your take on the game and where we go from here.
You saw, like you said, you saw two totally different teams. You saw a team in the first half who just couldn't score. Super aggravating once again. We're all thinking, well, same old. Yeah, JQ's back, but we still can't put the ball in the bucket and keep up with the other team scoring. Defense looked fantastic. Jalen Lowe came in for ironically 15 seconds
15th.
against a Rick Pitino squad and went out, right? If you know, you know. So he went out and hurt his shoulder, right? And we're all thinking, oh hell, here we go. But then he came back with like 17 minutes or something, like 3 minutes into the second half, and came in and it turned around. We started hitting our shots. Defense, kept playing well. You got to be super impressed with how JQ came in against that very physical Rick Pitino type defense. And I believe his name is Ejiofor, is that right?
Yeah, Zuby Ejiofor.
Yeah, was the Big East Player of the Year last year. Super physical guy. He came in and just made him look little, right? Just straight up dominating him, having him in hell, making things really tough on him. Malachi Marino, played fantastic. Had some very key offensive rebounds and putbacks. Some very key blocks. Cam Williams, some really timely threes. Jalen Lowe came in and started showing what it's like if you run some offense with an actual point guard. So that looked good. And guys, it was a win over a top 25 team, something we haven't seen all year.
At all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Pope looked like he made some adjustments pretty quickly, and kind of, got Pitino upset, which was kind of funny to see. But all in all, Mo Diabate, he didn't show a whole lot in stats, but he played a fantastic game, especially on the defensive end. We're actually talking super positive things about Kentucky basketball.
I was going to say, yeah. Save some for the other guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
John, you're kidding. TB, jump in. Your take.
Well, I think, as we all know, we're all fans of team sports. It's all about team identity. You have to find out, okay, this is how we play to win, right? Whatever it is. And, it's going to be rock fights. It's going to be defense. It'll be hopefully a healthy low in the half court. And I like our chances if that's the way that we're going to play. We may not get 90 points or 100 points like we did last year, but there's a different way to get it done. And so that's my takeaway is I think the coaching staff has figured out this is how this team is going to have to win.
Paul, what'd you see? What are you feeling?
I think this is the Jekyll and Hyde of Mark Pope's teams right now. We saw a lineup last week that against Indiana, and we were like, that's probably the lineup, right? And then the starting lineup, you're just like, what are we doing? And then we're running the stupid rotation, and you're right, we look like dog shit like that first half. I don't know. Like, this is the good part and the bad part. And I've told people this because, I've seen, we're back and all this stuff. And I'm like, look, it's 2 games. I need to see it for about 5 or 6. I want to see a streak here. It did look really good, though. JQ looked like a menace, even though you could tell he was a little rusty. Like, some of his shots just aren't there yet. But that pure raw athleticism and some of the blocks he had was just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Jalen Lowe's floaters in the lane, taking guys off the dribble, creating shots was fantastic. But something inside Mark Pope's got to just change a little bit. And I'll defend Mark Pope when he deserves it, and I'll criticize him when he criticizes it. That game probably could have been a lot worse if he stops trying to play these guys that right now you just see don't belong on the court. It just doesn't work with them. This needs to be an 8-man rotation.
Yep.
Maybe a 9 at the max if you get into foul trouble. And you go. I think the biggest thing about JQ and Dave, you kind of said this, right? Malachi Moreno having a really great game. Brandon Garrison starting to play better. Him being there is going to make those 2 dudes play harder because whoever comes in and gets those 2 or 3 spot minutes, but even you saw them sometimes playing on the floor together, which is nuts, by the way. Like, good luck. The rim protection is going to be dumb. Garrison, I think, can play that the best because he's dumb athletic. That will elevate their games because now all right, if we want minutes, we've got to now elevate to where this guy is. And look, competition and success. Otega Owe, 20 points. Otega was finally starting to take those little mid-range 18-foot jump shots that he had last year. It looked more Otega-ish. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where the team goes. I'm optimistic more so now than I was a week ago, obviously, because we have a win against Indiana and St. John's under our belt. But look, this team needs to get consistent, and Mark Pope's got to look at that starting lineup and look at it now, and he's got to kick some loyalty to the curb and just play the best, most athletic guys, because that team yesterday, that's a team that can beat some quality opponents.
Yeah.
It's if we keep running those guys out there and playing 30, 35 minutes a game.
I'm with you, and we'll talk a little bit more on what that shorter rotation should look like. But Adam, your overall summary from yesterday's game.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, just being in the Northeast, being around all these Big East schools, I watch a lot of Big East basketball, and that was a Big East kind of first half. Not much shot making. Really physical. Some pushing, some shoving. The St. John's really played us in that first half how they wanted to really play us and how their style and everything like that. But what really shifted in the second half is, I've been talking to some of my friends about this. Like, they need to dive into the identity of, we're not going to be like Alabama is. Alabama has great shooters. We're not going to be like them where, we're just chucking up threes and we can hit them and we can live with shooting 30 or 40 threes a game. Like, when the shot's not falling, go into the lane, get some offensive rebounds, get to the free throw line. They did a better job of getting to the free throw line in that second half. They didn't really have much free throws, I don't think, at all in that first half. And then the second half, they slowed the game down. They got to the free throw line, go on a little bit of a run. And, that's honestly like Mark Pope, he comes in this season, saying maybe shooting's better, everything like that. Like, he needs to understand that, there's not a guy on the court really that's like, you trust him to be. It's not like Kobe Bryant coming off screens, creating his own shot. Like, you need to be nasty. You need to be ugly. You need to go inside. You need to try and get to the line, slow the game down. And I think why I was really pleased with is that we beat St. John's, who love to run their offense through their bigs, love to play physical, love to get and ones, love to put up shots in the lane. We beat them at their own game. We got the rebounds. Pick and roll game was really good. I was really pleased with that because it kind of shows that we can adjust to these teams. The Big East and the SEC, both very physical leagues. And there's a ton of physical teams in the SEC, as we all know. So just the fact that we can adjust to that style of play, physicality, who's going to, strap up, get on the boards, get on the glass, put shots up, get fouled and things like that, and not turn the ball over. Like, that is what really was exciting for me as well. And this identity of, the shot's not falling, we got to go inside more. Like, it could work in early SEC play because I looked it up. Like, only 3 teams in the SEC are top 100 in 3-point percentage. That's Arkansas, Missouri, and some other team. But so, the SEC, it's going to be, I know everyone says it's a down year for the league in terms of, good teams, but it's also a down league for them in terms of shooting. These teams, they want to kind of go into the ugly style and going into the lane again, like slowing the game down, getting the free throw line. So that kind of plays into, I think, this team's identity, this team's style. So I just want to see a little bit more of that, I know Mark Pope is very sophisticated with his offense, wants to make it look pretty, but I think Rick Pitino said it perfectly. Like, we are just an average shooting team. So let's go into the identity of, going inside, finishing at the rim. We have guys who can definitely finish at the rim. We're a very athletic team. So let's try and dive into that. And super, super excited to see like what they can do. Bellarmine should be hopefully a good game. Kind of, Jasper beating up on a small school, Jane Quain's beating up on a small school. And then, the Alabama game will be very telling because, again, they're super fast. Can we slow the game down? It'll be interesting, but super excited. Need something to get excited about. So let's hope this turns into a good streak.
It's been a pretty positive conversation so far, Davo, but we touched on it. Two halves, 2 different teams. Oweh, really, this is a game I thought he kind of took over. JQ, Lowe, their impact is, I don't know how you can really measure it. Cam Williams with his he had some key threes during a run, 11 points off the bench. I'm looking at stat line. Yeah. Quaden's 10 points, 8 boards, 2 blocks. Low, 15 minutes or seconds in, and then that was the other disturbing part of the first half. It's like, oh fuck, here we go again. But his control, his leadership, his flow, everything But I tell you what, one of the most painful things, and walk me off the ledge on this one. How in the fuck do we have so much problem? Did we have so much problem getting the ball inbounds, Davo? I mean,
I think a lot of that is just Patino. You know, he's very good about any kind of inbounds play in general, about applying tons of pressure on who's ever in the backcourt trying to receive the ball. You know, he always puts the biggest guy on the inbounder. So it's just makes it tough.
That was one thing that annoyed me. But I'd also like TB the kind of the attitude we had. What was it? Who was it that got the 2 technicals and then had to buy rule? He was ejected. Yeah,
Mo had to go. Yeah,
and this is where there was they showed some life yesterday. So.
And that's what we want, right? Like, I said there in the Indiana game, it's kind of bad that just Kentucky players hustling is enough to get people excited, but that's what we want. That's what we expect, as sports fans. Like if you're a baseball fan, you want that guy running out, the grounder to first base. You expect the players to care like you care. Mm-hmm. And so now that they're doing that, I love it. I'm a big fan. It's like Paul was saying, when you get other guys playing hard, it raises everybody else up. Like, if I'm doing this, you're going to do this as well. That's the takeaway from The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. He's like, I'm not asking anybody to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. If I'm telling you hit the deck, I'm going to hit the deck for that loose ball. And that kind of stuff is contagious. And that's what we saw, right? We saw St. John's in the second half. They weren't even shooting. They were just throwing the ball at the hoop because the shot clock was running out. Like, they got tired of running offense against our defense. Yeah. When Quintus is in the game, their big guys are like, I don't want this. Like, they're passing the ball back out. So when you can look at the stats, but for me, for JQ, it's like, it's the shots the other team doesn't take. It's the plays that they don't run, right? We all remember how great Anthony Davis was, and some of his best plays were the shots that dudes got into the paint and didn't take because they didn't know where he was, right? So it's not just looking at the stats. You have to watch the game and look at that kind of impact as well. And St. John just looked like, we don't want to do this anymore. Like, there was that stretch. They had nothing but free throws. Like, their offense was terrible for a stretch. So credit to the defense Kentucky was playing.
Yeah. Paul, you touched on it earlier. What is the rotation? If you're Pope, who because in the second half the rotation did shorten. Did Noah play at all in the second half? Maybe a little.
Do we know what happened to Yelovich, by the way? Like, he hasn't played in.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too.
For him.
Is he on the bench?
It must have been practice. I've been hearing it's practice. Like, he was lazy in practice, something like that.
I don't know if that's verified though. Like, that's all right. So you got to go. The lineup's just got to start. It's got to be Jalen Lowe, Otega Owe, Cam Williams, JQ, and Mo. Like, that's got to be your 5. You got Zell that can come off the bench. Colin Chandler probably can come off the bench in that, and then you gotta kind of probably move around with your Brandon Garrison and Malachi Moreno, and just whichever one seems to be better, that's who you ride with. And that would be like my lineup. Trent Noah, I'm not really playing Trent Noah a whole lot. Even Yelovich right now, he hasn't looked really worth anything. So I wouldn't be playing him. If he now listen, Yelovich is kind of a weird factor here, because if he can come back, and he can be good, because we know that there's a player in there, right, that adds to your 4 and your stretch 4 that you can add into something like that if you need to have more of a stretch 4 type in there to give Cam Williams. Because right now you're looking at Cam Williams and Mo D and even Garrison playing the 4. So that's kind of who I would look at. But there's really not a lot after that, but you got to kind of keep 3 of those 5 on the floor, I think, almost at all times, because you can't go full wholesale changes with a 5, because that 5 is just not good enough right now to play all together.
And you saw, I'm sorry.
Go. No, go.
You saw that this wasn't a Colin Chandler type game, right? And I
Mhm.
know a lot of people are all, in love with Colin Chandler because of his dunks and everything this year. But this is going to be the type of game that he's just not going to be very effective in. And
Him, Noah. No,
Trent Noah, I know he's a
Physical.
Kentucky boy. I know it. We all love him, right? But you just can't play, those kind of players in a game like that because they can't keep up with the physicality.
No. Adam, your rotation. Give me what you think.
Yeah. I had to go back to a tweet I put out because if everyone's healthy that plays, you're looking at 12 players. So my starting five is Jalen Lowe, Ortega, Cam Williams, I think should start, Mo D, and then I put before the game started, I put Malachi in the starting lineup just because I think that Mark Pope is going to be a little bit more cautious with JQ. You saw, which I thought was really good coaching by him. He put JQ in spots where, he could make an impact. The short little spurts thing, I think it worked. The minutes restriction, I think worked, just to kind of get his feet wet, especially against a physical team like St. John's, teams that you're going to face, in the SEC. So I think that was good. And then my bench, I'll go Colin Chandler, Denzel, Yelovich, I think needs to play. I mean, I feel like we brought this guy in and, he's not playing, and then we're all wondering like, why not? And we're also like wondering like, he is like a unicorn type player. Like, what can he bring to this team? Like, he's good in the post. He can obviously stretch out for three. I do think he needs to get a little bit more physical, which is a bit of a surprise to say that because he did play obviously like pros in Croatia in that pro league. So obviously he should be used to that already. But sometimes you come in, American college basketball is a little bit different. And then I would say BG as well, coming off the bench. I think the bench is perfect for him just because I think he can provide a lot of energy. He can provide a big offensive rebound, a three here or there would be nice. And then JQ I put on the bench before the game started, but I think obviously he'll start. Malachi, I think, would also be good coming off the bench. And I put depth pieces, Jasper Johnson and Trent Noah. Jasper Johnson, I just feel like he, again, like will take a little bit of time to develop. I think putting him, Bellarmine is like obviously like the worst opponent we're probably going to play for the rest of the season. So you put him in against Bellarmine, he drops like 15 points, something like that, on some, 6 for 15 shooting. Like that's good for the confidence and everything like that. But I just feel like, when the SEC play comes around, I think he'll get pushed around a little bit if they, want to give him these big minutes. I think, if Jalen Lowe gets injured or whoever gets injured, then you'll have to put him in. But again, like I just feel like he needs a little bit more time, which is totally fine. I feel like it's totally fine. I feel like we all need to be patient with him. And I put Treno on the depth pieces as well, just because I feel like, again, like last year, spot up shooter, had some good cuts, with Amari passing him the ball and everything like that. But, that's still kind of his game, and you're seeing, a lot of us have probably said this as well, like sometimes he's scared to shoot. Sometimes he's just not letting it fly enough. And, what else do you really bring to the court? I hate to be critical of him, but like, because I love him, but like, what more do you bring other than, okay, you have a jump shot. Are you going to attack closeouts? Are you a good finisher at the rim? Are you getting to the free throw line? Like, are you setting up teammates? I think, again, he would be good as a depth piece for right now. But that's the rotation I have. And I know everyone wants to talk about like, play the best lineup and everything like that. Honestly, like, in my opinion, I'm a firm believer of like playing who's hot at that moment in time. And I feel like a lot of coaches in the country do that. So, Ortega might be having a bad game. Colin Chandler might be having a good game. You have to, play Colin Chandler. You have to play Denzel, one of those guys. Or, Mo D not having a good game, shooting a bunch of threes that are bricks and everything like that. So you probably have to put BG in. So it's like, I'm a firm believer of, you have a set lineup and everything like that, when SEC play comes around, you have a set lineup, you go with the set lineup. But I'm a firm believer of like playing guys, that have the hottest hand right now, playing guys that are contributing.
Yeah, totally fair. But I'm also totally for shortening this rotation.
For sure.
Yeah, there's going to have to now, as we're heading into SEC play, minutes are going to should shrink for a lot of guys. This is Do you think Pope's strategy is to use depth in the first half so the key players are fresh and have perspective from watching on the bench? If so, it's a genius move. Paul, your thoughts real quick on that.
Sorry. Dude. Do you think Pope's strategy is no?
Yeah, that's why I'm not thinking that.
No. I think he needs to stop the analytic. I think the last 2 games he has tried to coach to his mantra, and it's bit us in the ass both games, and he had to adjust. And at some point, he's gonna have to realize we got to just adjust. This isn't. You're not winning. You're not going to win national championships with a 10-man rotation. It's just not going to happen.
No, platoon came close, but
you know what Pope needs to do?
Go ahead.
Go. Feed the studs.
Feed the studs. Yeah.
Feed the studs. Yeah.
Feed the studs.
Yeah. Dave, I'll stay with you. What's your rotation?
Oh shit. Probably mirror what Paul said. Lowe, because we feel like, listen, Lowe does not need to play against Bellarmine. He doesn't. You go ahead and sit him out.
Yeah,
let him rest. Right. Don't even really have him do much in practice. No contact, because that seems to be his kryptonite in practice for some reason. No contact. Just
give him a pillow.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Just lay down. Chill. Open up some presents. Eat some cookies. Do what you got to do. Okay. So it's gonna be Ortega, Lowe, Cam Williams, JQ, and Mo. I mean, that's just probably that's your best athletes. There's not a ton of shooting in there, but as long as they can get to the rim and affect shots on defense, that's how we're going to have to score and win games.
Well, TB, your rotation too. Before you say one thing, I was kind of glaring. 4 of 6. Our 3-point shooting game has gone south recently, but
got to make it ugly.
But we, only 4.
I don't give a shit if we had a 3-pointer the rest of the year if we win.
Exactly.
Win.
Well,
I agree with you.
But where I'm going was that game wasn't, the 3-point shot was nowhere near what won the game for us. But TB, go ahead. Your rotation. What are you thinking, feeling?
No, I agree with Paul, but you have to go with again, like Adam said, you have to go with who's hot. I think it's game dependent. But the bench has to be short. I think people say, "Oh, we've got 10 guys." Yeah, that's not going to work, right? The platoons. We stopped platooning well before the tournament started, right? Like it doesn't go. Yeah. It doesn't go that way. And even you can look at the minutes on the '96 team, which had all those NBA guys. The minutes were different once the game started really mattering. So you got to be a little bit flexible there.
Fair. All right, let's see. So, but yeah, Bellarmine's what Bellarmine is what?
Tuesday or Wednesday at 1?
Yeah. Is it Wednesday? I think it is Wednesday. So it'd be Christmas Eve.
That's going to be one of the smallest crowds at Rupp Arena ever, and it's not going to be on team basis.
Usually those are some big crowds.
Yeah,
people are in.
It's Tuesday.
Christmas tickets.
Yeah,
it is Tuesday. Yeah. Because it's also the game. Isn't this also the game where you can buy Eruption Zone tickets if you're like a regular fan? So
yeah.
Usually those games are usually pretty. I'll probably be there. I'd say.
All right, and then what's the Bama game? Is what
January 3rd, right?
Yeah, so
day after my birthday.
Is that our first league game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a.
So this is our, I guess, Bellarmine will be the conclusion of the non-conference.
Yep.
Schedule.
Bellarmine's in Kentucky, right?
Here, in Louisville.
Oh.
Yep. Real quick, peanut butter. How many players were in Florida's rotation last year?
They only have
8.
8.
Yeah,
7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Because Denzel was, and some other guys came off the bench, and that was it.
Denzel was the 6th man, right?
He was.
Yeah, he was the 6th man because Walter and Will Richard started again.
Yeah.
Yep, they did. And all right, let's. I guess it's safe to say. I mean, we're going to beat Bellarmine, and to your point, Davo, you got to rest the guys. Certain guys do not need to play. Grade this team of the non-conference schedule. Grade this team right now.
Who?
Our team.
Me first?
No commentary. No commentary. Just give a grade. Easier. We'll go on rants. We don't. Just give a grade.
Give a grade, then we can all just pile up on
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be here forever. Just do this.
B minus.
B minus, really? Okay.
Kind of fringe C plus.
All right. TB, what do you say?
We lost by 35 points to Gonzaga.
Oh,
We lost to Louisville by the largest margin in 20 years.
the final was by 8, but that we were never really in that game.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The largest margin we've lost to Louisville in 20 years.
Yeah.
We lost by 35 points.
Yeah.
What are we doing? We got boat raced by Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Like,
There.
I understand, like Paul said this earlier, like these last 2 games have been great. I've got my flow chart. When Kentucky wins, I'm happy. When they lose, I'm sad. But you have to tell the whole story. I am not going to let a couple of games erase. We lost by 35 points.
Sure.
Like, what are we doing? 35 points.
35?
And we had Louisville taking shots at us. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like to me, I'm saying D plus C minus because once again, we lost to Gonzaga by 35 points.
I'm with you. I didn't think this first half of the season was Pope's best work. If
people are going to tell me the standard is the standard, it can't change it because the coach used to play here.
Yeah.
Right? If we told the previous coach you got to go because you're not meeting the standard's not getting boat raced by 35 points.
No.
It's not losing by 20 to Michigan State. It's not losing to Louisville by the largest margin in 20 years.
Paul, your grade.
C minus. I mean, TB basically said everything. Nothing else I need to say there. C minus.
Yeah. Adam.
I'm going with a C. Honestly, if he didn't win against, if he lost one of the last 2 games, I would have given it a D minus. Just because, like, North Carolina game they should have won. The Louisville game they were just not ready. Too little, too late. We know that. Obviously, Gonzaga game was not ready from the start. And then who else they lose to? Oh, Michigan State. I was at that game, Madison Square Garden. It was awful. And my friend looked at me. Friend barely watched Kentucky, but he knows I'm a huge fan. Friend looked at me. He said, "This is the worst I've ever seen them play." And I was just like, "Is this the worst you've ever seen them play?" I told him, "Yeah." Like I'd never seen a team look so lethargic, and these Michigan State fans are like,
I don't understand like the comment here. Like Duke lost by 30 in the national championship. So that was A. If it was the next year, it was the next year. B. That UNLV team sure didn't have the same team either.
No.
And I think that UNLV team won the national title that year, didn't they?
Yeah.
UNLV won in 90 and then Duke won in 91. Yeah.
91.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not. This is a completely different age and era in basketball, and like no one's looking at the 26-27 season right now. Like it doesn't matter. Like that. Also, Duke wasn't the Duke that we see today. It's not. It's not
Basketball
that,
was
right?
different.
Like basketball is different. Duke was not the same Duke that is today. Kentucky is not. It's different. That if Kentucky was coming off probation. Yeah, we can talk about all that, but they're not, and that's the biggest problem.
Right. If I'll only bump the grade up if they start like 2-0, 3-0.
We'll worry about the grade the second half of the season.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
season.
later.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sometimes teams just decide it's not their day. Gonzaga is definitely, of course, they're not 35 points, but at the same time too, if we should have done something to keep that from being a 35-point loss.
You are what the scoreboard says you are, and multiple times the scoreboard has said that we are not a very good team. Now that maybe can change. I think there's probably maybe there's some hindsight when you look in Anyway, we've talked enough basketball. We're just gonna beat a dead horse on this.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be all right, guys. Can we talk NIL-JMI, Paul? Can you put out the kind of the summarize where we're at with this? What's been going around for the novice people out there?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the contract got leaked. Everybody started looking at it, analyze it through AI. I'm not reading all that shit. You don't want me to read it anyway. Not smart enough to read it. Basically, it just breaks down to it's not very good still. I think I know I saw a lot of the bigger talking heads coming out and saying, I lied. It's like, I just want somebody. I don't know if it was Pilgrim or somebody who was like, it doesn't matter. It's just good that he's talking. And then like by the third interview, it was like, I lied. The more he talks, the worse it gets. Right. The more Mitch Barnhart opens his mouth, the worse the fan base gets. Nobody believes the shit that he's selling. Obviously Christian Collins is now no longer coming to Kentucky, opens his recruitment back up. Vanderbilt's starting to get into the mix with guys that used to be locks to blue bloods. I've been telling people, get your head out of your ass. Vanderbilt's a big player right now, and they are laughing at Mitch Barnhart all day, every day. Look, I've consistently said this. Football NIL is different. It is different. But if Kentucky doesn't land a top 10 class, and I'm telling you, a top 10 class for this coach should be a lock. All right. Especially with the offensive firepower he can bring in. If he doesn't bring in a top 10 class,
we don't have a player signed yet, right?
Well, the portal's technically not even open yet. Like no players can't sign or anything yet, right? You're not seeing a mass exodus of players on our side either so far. A couple of guys, but it is what it is. Like,
not portal specific. I'm talking about just high school recruits. We have not.
We flipped the 4-star. We flipped the 4-star recruit on site. But I think we landed. We didn't have a big class, but the class was decent. Like there was good players in that class, at least not Louisville's class. In Louisville's class, they just basically lost everybody at the end there. Braum still hasn't re-signed. That's interesting. Michigan's now wide open. I would keep an eye on that. Also, you have like Vince Marrow's connections with Michigan. So all I'm just saying is keep an eye there. But look, it's just not good. I mean, we have the most inhibitive NIL in the Power Four. If you don't believe me, just look. You can go into AI. You can run that. You can say, how does Kentucky? And you don't have to ask negative questions. Be like, how does Kentucky's NIL stack up against every other team in the Power Four? Be like, what is the competitive advantages? And you ask it, it's just going to come back and say like Kentucky has the most inhibitive NIL in the country. That's just the bad part of where we're at. And, you can listen to all the talking heads and all the people and all the stupid accounts that are out there. There's a couple that's really making the rounds that are really defending this thing, calling people all kinds of names and profanities and things like that. You have your average fan. Listen, we know that the athletic department and JMI has burner accounts. They're trying to salvage this. It's just not working. The thing is that Mitch Barnhart has never liked the NIL. He was 2 years late to NIL. Again, like guys, I'm not speaking like rocket science here. This is all stuff a lot of people. Matt Jones have talked about this. Jack Pilgrim's talked about this. There's a lot of big, talking heads that have talked about this. And he was late to NIL. He's 2 years late. Mark Stoops had to get his own collective made. Cal didn't want to work with the guy that they wanted him to work with for basketball. Went to go make his own collective there. And there's been problems. Like there has been glaring basketball problems with NIL even before the JMI deal. If you go back and you look at the Jasper Johnson situation, we also didn't land guys there. There was some stuff within the Jasper situation I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. If it is true, it's not great. So there's been this strife with basketball even since before. Even when Calipari was here with the NIL, I mean, look, Cal never landed we didn't land a number one recruit. Kentucky has not landed. I don't know if we landed a top 5 recruit in the NIL era.
Oh,
I don't know if we have. I mean, who is the what's his face on the 23 team? Was he the highest ranked recruit
Hayden
Cal
Sharp.
had? No, not Sharp. Sharp was in is in like 2020 or 2019, right? Well, I don't even know when he was. No, in 23. He was on the Shepherd team, wasn't he?
No, he was supposed to play for the team with Cason Wallace and Chris Livingston.
Yeah, not that team. Justin Edwards.
Justin Edwards, yeah. He was number
Wasn't
3.
Justin Edwards like the highest?
He was number 3,
recruit?
yeah.
Yeah, they used the highest recruit Cal had gotten in years. So even with Cal, we struggled. I do think that there's I think there's truth to the aspect that Cal ended up just leaving on his own because of the NIL stuff here and how Mitch was. I've talked to a couple boosters and a couple other people that are kind of inside inside the world, and some of them feel that we didn't land one of the big heavy guys because of of Mitch's NIL and the situation, how things were, that it maybe it wasn't a decided factor for contributing. And you got to kind of say this, and I think I said this on a space once. Like, if you just go look at the last 3 years and you start adding up the things that hadn't happened, and you're like, well, could NIL of now look, and some of this I'm just speculating, right? Like, I talked to a booster and he says, I have a feeling to this, and maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. He's going to probably know maybe more than I do. I talked to another guy that's an insider around the program, and they say the same thing. I don't know. Maybe he's getting better intel, which he probably would. But everything starts to add up, right? You're not winning Final Fours. We're not getting to you were barely, not even really getting to Sweet 16s. We're not getting to Elite Eights. We're not landing top players. We're having all these issues. I mean, if you remember, Travis Branham said Kentucky was 3rd behind Alabama and North Carolina for Jasper Johnson. And Jasper Johnson was the 3rd year would have been a 3rd generation legacy recruit for Kentucky, and we had to bring Vince Marrow and the Crafts in to get that deal done. Like, people like that gets swept under the rug. So when you look at like everything kind of lined up, like, to me, there's a lot of issues here because we're just not looking at everything. If you look at this again from 2022 on, there's a lot of problems with NIL. A lot of big problems around basketball because basketball is different. But I am concerned if we have issues landing guys in the football portal. I think we are really fucked for basketball unless something changes. And I really hope we start the new year with Mitch Barnhart's resignation or retirement or whatever it is, because this guy, God bless him, and whatever you want to say, he's done good for the university. I'm a what have you done for me lately kind of guy. Sports isn't in the past, it's right now and in the present. And right now, Mitch Barnhart's grade is an F+. I mean, he's fucking awful at his job. And honestly, this entire administration needs to get absolutely ran out of Lexington and never set foot in a college campus again. We have to get modern, and if we don't, we're in a lot of trouble. And it doesn't matter who the Pope coach is. I will give Pope all the grace in the world in this. I'll give any coach. Stoops was a little bit of a dinosaur. He kind of came into this kicking and screaming. Will Stein's different, but man, I got to tell you, like, people want to blame Mark Pope. Mark Pope doesn't sign the contracts. Mark Pope's got the number one guy. We got the number one guy there. And someone just said, look at how many people are signing up for BBN United when the lowest price point is $29.99. That's not true. That's not unsustainable. The unsustainability aspect of it is that it's really bad in the aspect that, you've got Mitch Barnhart saying, of course, we're going to look out for our partners first. And when he says, hey, like, we guys could go and get other NIL deals, but they can't use our marks. Well, other schools aren't being that strenuously difficult. They have Learfield or they have JMI Lear. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, Learfield's not stopping other outside collectives. The schools are still able to do stuff. So the unsustainability aspect is the rigidness. Like, that's the aspect of this. It's not money. Like, and I've told everyone, Kentucky doesn't have a money problem. It has a structure problem. And the fact that we have these clowns at JMI trying to run, you're basically getting, and this is probably the best analogy, and I don't know why he could let guys use the marks without running through JMI. He just chooses not to. That's not true, because JMI owns all the marks. JMI owns all the marks, so he can't. So there's no way to get around that. the big problem is that the biggest problem overall, guys, is like you basically have food company executives trying to run, well, they're not food, they're marketing people trying to run a sports franchise, which is basically what this is. When we had people here that were basically sports people that had all the connections in the world, and now we have marketing people trying to run these contracts, which is bad and stupid enough. But then you put it on top of that it's rigid. We're trying to get these guys to sign over their NIL rights, which I've never seen a contract there, but no other school is doing that. And is it in perpetuity? Is it for a specific period of time? Is it only for a year? I don't know. But this is the kind of stuff, man, like we're not winning recruits. So this is bad. It's just bad all the way around, and it needs to change.
All right. Good stuff, Paul.
I was
Dave,
gonna say, just real quick.
yeah,
Paul,
Dave, I want you. Well, go ahead.
Paul, just real quick. Is JMI the product of Mitch Barnhart's decision making, knowing that, hey, he had to fix a really big injury to the athletic program, so to speak, like a major gash, like we're bleeding out. So he just had to fix something really fast, and he just randomly hired JMI without even thinking and knowing that he's on his way out. So he just put something together and said, fuck it.
No, we didn't have a problem. Like that was the thing. We didn't have a problem. We had 5 collectives that were here, and only one of those collectives so we didn't have a money problem, we didn't have a fundraising problem, we didn't even have a structurally organization problem with most of them. He did it because he wants full totalitarian control. I've said everything. Mitch Barnhart's basically the equivalent of a mafia boss that runs around and says, I love Jesus. Like, he's just a fraud. He's a fake. I don't think he's a good person, genuinely. I think his Christianity's nonsense. I don't think he's overall a nice guy, man. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I think a lot of it is BS, and some people love him. A lot of people hate him. I think he's the most disliked person probably in Kentucky right now. I mean, and he's holding Kentucky back, no matter what he wants to say. And listen, you've heard these guys over and over again in sports and other places, right? Like, Papa comes in here and he does it. And if you can hear just how he's saying, stop it, don't talk about it. And he gets in there and he knows these other schools allow other collectives. Like, he knows it. He talks to the fans like we're idiots. Unfortunately for him, a lot of people have the internet now and they can go look this shit up for themselves.
Terry, jump in. Haven't heard. What are your thoughts on all this?
Oh, I mean, the thing.
Hold on one second. This guy just said the JMI thing is so we could adhere to the new rules. Problem is the rules aren't going into effect. There are no new rules. There are none. They're banking this off of the SCORE Act, and if you actually put the contracts into that and compare it to the SCORE Act, it actually doesn't even necessarily come out well for us. Sorry, TV, go ahead.
No, I'd say so. From what I've seen, there's two things: either the collective isn't great, or the JMI deal is not great. Because when you're the only school that does something, you're either genius or you're stupid, right? There's no in between. If you're the only one doing it, those are your options, right?
Yep.
And so when I saw the JMI deal, I'm like, that's weird because no one else is doing this, right? Like, that was my takeaway.
And he told everyone, this is the model. Everyone's going to it,
No, it's so guys, people aren't going to go where they're limited. And it just sounds like JMI has limited so much, or players and the representatives feel that it's a limiting deal, right? So that's an issue. The second piece is some of those, I forgot what article it was, that Pope was being emotional with some of this stuff. So if it's not the NIL and it's the coach, that can't happen here. Like, both of those things can't happen, right? So whatever it takes to get to a better place, we got to do it. If that's get rid of Mitch or JMI, like, this thing needs to keep going. If it's get rid of Pope, like, this thing needs to keep going.
DB, I got a thought process on that. If you're Mark Pope and you know that you have the most inhibitive NIL out there, like, listen, I'm telling you, Mark Pope just was going to take this job no matter what. And I think it is telling that some of the biggest names in basketball didn't come here. And some of the guys that told no and stayed where they were at, very weird. I think if you're Mark Pope, I would be getting emotional there, because if you know that all of your ammo and all your bullets are spent and they're coming back to you to negotiate a new deal or renegotiate something because the school's come back and said, well, go ask Kentucky if they'll let you do this. What are you like? What else you got besides getting a little emotional, saying we play for the name on the front of the chest, right? Like all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that's right, but if you were in his shoes, if I was in the shoes, the only thing you could do is really kind of get defensive and try and stand your ground. Because I think he's fighting the NIL recruiting battle with an arm time behind his back.
Oh, I get that. I'm just talking about the quotes I saw. The perception from some of the players and the representatives may not be that. It may be like, what is this guy doing? That's my concern.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Is if it's out there like, hey, I don't know, this guy was this. So whatever it is, it needs to be fixed. That's all I'm saying. Because we have seen teams I know we don't like to go back and pass, but teams for 90 years decide we're going to be good at this one thing, whatever it takes. Here in Lawrence, Kansas, we're going to do basketball. Here in Tuscaloosa, we're going to do football, right? And Kentucky, the fans, the apparatus, whatever you want to say, needs to say, no, when it comes to men basketball, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're about. So that's where I am. Fix it.
The other part to that too, and this is like the biggest part I'll say to Pope. Pope's gotten top 5 guys to the hat on the table almost every single time. And you can't, there's no way, there's very few times, and I think if we look at this logically in college basketball, how many schools get to the last table and never get picked? It's very rare. Fuck, Ohio State was getting guys, and like some of these obscure places, BYU, right? Like, I think a lot of it, that's telling that we can't get the deals done behind the scenes because Pope is getting the players to the point where they want to come here. We've gotten crystal balls for these guys, and then they don't come. To me, that's less the coach and more of the apparatus. I'm not knocking what you're saying, TB. I'm just saying adding layers there.
Well, yeah, but my thing is, whatever it is, we need to fix it.
I don't think it will fix until Mitch is gone.
And look, Paul, like on this show, I have been a kind of a supporter of Mitch. It's caught up a lot of flack, but I hear lately, I am off. I am off of it. A lot of good things, but yeah, and again,
his first 15 years were great. He did a really good job, but he's ruining all the good he's done in the last 3 or 4 years by being late to everything.
And it's I'm with you.
Adam, jump in. Your take on all this.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, like Paul said everything perfectly, kind of breaking everything down. But what I'm really, getting worried about is that these freshman classes are going to only get better in basketball. I would speak for basketball specifically. Like these freshman classes, this year specifically, when you have Cameron Boozer, AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson when he's healthy, Koa Pete, all these guys, like these freshman classes are only getting better and better and better. So, these teams like Duke and Kansas, they're falling under, they're going back to, what it was like pre-2020, pre-NIL, where, you have to recruit freshmen to be, considered a top team or to be competing for a national title at the end of the day. Those teams still recruit those big freshmen, but they mix it with transfer portal. I feel like with us, it's like, we have the transfer portal, we have the returning players, everything like that. That's 2 of the 3 roster construction kind of keys that you need to hit on. But I
think it's very telling for the roster portal piece right now that they're trying to make sure these guys don't leave, and they're doing it real early. I think that's telling as well that Pope is trying to lock some of these guys up in November, December right now, because you guys got to remember. The transfer portal also, those deals weren't with JMI in effect. This JMI deal, this is the first time we're running through with football and basketball recruits. Last year, all of our rosters were all collective built still until this. This is now the tell of everything with the JMI and deal with Kentucky. With football and basketball specifically, if we don't start landing guys, this is very broken, and basketball is the same way going to be in the transfer portal. So I'm saying, look at everything again from like the 10,000 foot level. I'm very concerned about football. Football is different, but I hope we land dudes, but I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible we had an effort issue because of something JMI was doing on the payroll side? Why would Ortega admit he wasn't giving effort behind the scenes money disputes?
I think look, I don't know if he's not getting paid or something like that. But the other thing is he wanted to go to the NBA. We gave him a shit ton of money to stay here, and I think he just needed to get his fucking head right because he thought he was going to the NBA. I think that's fair, and it's a little different now when you're making $3 million to stay here in college and play instead of
be the main guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not even that. I think it's just different because you're getting now paid, and mentally you think you should be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Good. All right. We'll start wrapping this up. I'm going to your all's take on how the college football playoff has played out so far. Dave, I'll start with you. Your thoughts.
Obviously, we saw the two games that everybody knew was BS, right? It was kind of fun to see future head coach Will Stein show off a little bit, and just keep putting points and points and points up on a team where we all thought that was a possibility and probably was going to happen. We saw, pretty much. We saw some surprising stuff. We saw Miami go in, to College Station and hold, Texas A&M to 3 points. We know Miami's defense.
By that?
Miami's defense is really, really good, right? And then we saw Alabama go in and do Alabama things in the playoff and take care of Oklahoma. And I think we're going to have some really exciting matchups coming up again. So,
Texas A&M, man, they're a fraud. You're right.
They'll be hanging on to that volleyball championship for years now.
Oh yeah. TB, your take on the playoffs?
My thing is, what does it hurt to let the G5 in? I mean, we've seen blowouts. Like every championship, NFL playoffs, there's blowouts in the first round. NBA playoffs, teams get swept. Like this isn't new, right? Like just because you you lose in a blowout doesn't mean you weren't deserving. Like the commenter said, Duke lost by 30 one year. Does that mean they didn't belong in the Final Four? No. So what difference does it make? Either you like college football in its entirety or you don't. That's my takeaway.
My takeaway is that it should be the 12 best teams.
But
period.
Here's the thing about college football. What the fuck does that mean? Like everybody keeps saying the best. What does that even mean?
Probably not the team with 121st ranked schedule being in the playoffs.
But the thing, you cannot exclude the G5 because that is litigation.
Do one, not two. I mean, I'm fine with one.
The only reason why there was two was because of the ACC tiebreaker shit. So I feel like
still stupid as shit.
It is, yeah. That was horrible.
But that's college football. Like for years, everybody played and then people just voted, right? Like college football is not built to make sense. We're trying to make something make sense that doesn't make any sense. Because it's
all like everyone.
I'm following along, TV. I got you.
Not everyone's going to be happy at the end of the day. Someone has to get left out. So.
Right.
College football needs, first of all, the parity is much larger. There was at least 3 teams left out that might have been able to win the whole damn thing. I mean, just honestly, there might have been.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, like I got to tell you, I was super glad that JMU and Tulane got their asses absolutely beat to shit. I think both of them being in, I'm going to take a completely different thing. I think JMU, especially being in, was an embarrassment to college football and the integrity of the game. That game was so stupid, and someone wants to run around. Oh, they put up 500 yards. Dude, Oregon didn't come out of the fucking locker room. Like that game was over at halftime. I think that the integrity of college football was so bad with especially with allowing JMU, who has not beaten a Power 5 opponent or a P4 opponent. At least Tulane, you can say, hey, they beat Northwestern and they beat Duke, the ACC champion. I'm okay with one. But JMU specifically was an embarrassment to college football being in the playoffs. It ruined what could have been an amazing game. You put Texas, Vanderbilt, or Notre Dame in that game again, and that is probably one of the most watched college football games in the history. You probably get another game like Miami and Texas A&M, which was cinema. By the way, I think Miami might win the whole damn thing, by the way, because their defense is fucking nasty. But JMU, I never want to see a team like JMU. They're annoying ass little fan base. and that entire stupid thing ever fucking again. It was an embarrassment to college football. They're a fucking joke. They should never get in a tournament, especially with 12 teams. If it's 16, 18, 24, look, you got some playing games. I don't mind that. You get one G5, I don't care. But the days of having like like people want to talk about Utah, Boise State. That Utah team that beat Alabama would have beat this JMU team by 3 fucking touchdowns. Like all those teams, last year's Boise State team would have beat the dog shit out of this JMU team. Fucking probably would have beaten the dog shit out of the Tulane team. So there are G5 teams that legitimately are good. But the TCUs of the world, the old school Utahs, the old school Boise State teams, those teams are done. Like those teams aren't coming through the door right now, because especially in the NIL portal era, and you're just going to see dog walking bullshit. And everybody knew with the result. Everybody said what would happen, and it happened the exact same way. I hope it never happens again. It was embarrassing, and I will stand on this till the grave. They didn't earn the spot. They didn't deserve the spot. There's no way that a team that has 121st ranked schedule should ever be in. I honestly think it was an embarrassment to college football and a detriment to the playoff, because people are now thinking that it's a joke that you can basically get a bye week. Now this next round is going to be fucking cinema. The games are amazing.
Yeah.
But that first round had 2 absolutely fucking joke of a game that didn't even belong on the field.
Yeah, I'm with you. Anybody else want to?
Yeah. I think I just want to say, like, the reason why I'm not like the biggest fan of college football per se is just because I feel like it's just all like resume. It's, oh, this team should get over this team because of this. And it's like, for me, it gets all a little too complicated when your basically fate of your season is, down to 12 people in a room in Grapevine, Texas, a lot of them with biases because they are like athletic directors of other schools and everything like that. And I know, like, oh, like you can't pick.
Go back to the BCS system, man. Honestly, that was the best system we probably had. If you do it in 12 teams, you're probably going to get the best 9 times out of 10.
But as someone who goes to a mid-major school, I love seeing like underdog stories. That's one of the reasons I love sports. I love seeing underdog stories come into the fold, competing with the big dogs. Like, I'm all for that. But at the end of the day, like, the reason why you see a lot more upsets in basketball in March Madness, which we love, rather than like a playoff game in college football, is because like in college football, like, you're not gonna. Sometimes you can't really account for players, from Oregon compared to JMU. Oregon faster, stronger, more athletic, more physical, run better stuff. Like, you can't really account for that. Whereas,
well, look at Steph Curry, right? Like, Steph Curry wasn't necessarily the biggest in the most athletic.
He wasn't necessarily the biggest,
but he can score 35 and torch you and win
exactly.
games,
like,
right? Like, that's different in
basketball. If you get hot in college basketball, then like the 3-point, I've always said the 3-point shot is the great equalizer in basketball. Like, if you're hitting a bunch of threes, if you're going on a run, and to top that off, like, you're playing good defense, you're staying out of foul trouble, everything like that. Like, in basketball, like, these upsets are going to happen, but in college football, like, at the line of scrimmage, you have 330-pound offensive linemen pushing these defensive linemen, to open up the run game. You have these faster receivers running better routes than these players that you pick up. They're 3-star, 2-star players at mid-major schools. Now, again, I go to a mid-major school. We don't have a football team, but like, I go to a mid-major school. Like, I love, when we go up, our basketball team just beat Pitt on the road. Like, I love seeing upsets and everything like that. But at the end of the day, like, it's unfortunate because it's like in football, like, these upsets just aren't happening. Like, the Titans aren't going to go beat the Broncos, and all that. And the Giants aren't going to go beat the Patriots, which they didn't. So like, it's a lot different, I feel like, in football and basketball when it comes to like underdog stories and everything like that. But at the same time, you have to let these group of 5 teams in, because it's like, what are they wouldn't have gotten in the 4-team playoff and the let's just like top 2, they wouldn't have gotten in anyways. So I feel like you have to give a fair shot to those teams that, they have to play for something. But at the end of the day, it's unfortunate because they're getting their ass beat by Ole Miss, Oregon, big teams like that. So yeah, it's never going to be fixed, because people say like, oh, we want 16-team playoff, let's go to computers, everything like that. Let's just face it, there's no fixing, because college football.
If you go to a 16-team playoff and you have 14 go to the P4 and 2 go to G5, but and it's the 2 highest ranked G5, regardless of conference affiliation,
Yeah.
you're going to land on it. You're going to land. You might have 2 not good games, but let's be honest. There was
You have 2
14.
not good
There was
games. We have
there was
Texas
14
going
teams.
up against Texas going
No,
up
you'd
against
have
all those
no.
top seeds.
You have but Texas could beat Georgia. They could beat Alabama. I
That's
mean,
what I'm
they
saying.
were
Like
starting to play,
it's
right?
you'll have
But
better games.
you also have 4 teams that probably would get a bye. Wouldn't even play in the first round.
Yeah.
Terry, what are you laughing at?
What's that?
What are you laughing at?
Well, this is what college football has been for 100 years. A lot of hypotheticals. This team could beat this team. This team could do this. That's what makes it crazy. And we're trying to make sense out of stuff that's crazy. The biggest thing is the conferences are too big. You can go 10-2 and not play any top teams in your conference.
True.
So that skews everything. People are dogpiling on Texas A&M, but a SEC team with that resume is going to get in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that stuff is going to happen where you can beat Indiana and not play Michigan, Ohio State in the regular season. The conferences are just too big, and so you're trying to compare. You're trying to compare apples and oranges and tangerines and a Gatorade. It's never going to make sense.
Never.
The NFL makes sense because there's enough teams and they play each other with regularity.
Mm-hmm.
In college football, you can't look at 135 teams and come up with a way that is fair for everybody.
Well, TB, if you look at the D2 way they do it,
they do
the 2014
right?
playoff. Well, it's a 2014 playoff. I think what they have 12 conferences and 12 at-large bids. Now, if major college football went that route, I think you damn near land real close. Because you're right, the conferences are smaller. Everybody plays each other in the conference. You don't miss anything. I think the conferences have like 8 teams in them, maybe 9, and then everybody plays each other. And then they have 12 at-large bids. Now, I think you would probably be on the team there that says if we did that in major college football, you're going to land real damn close to probably having the playoffs to represent the best teams.
And then you're probably got college teams playing 18, 19 games more than the NFL plays. So
I think they play 12 plus. I think 18 or 17 is the max that they would play, right? 17.
Something like that.
Because some of the top teams get buys, right? I think in that format.
But
Let's go. Fuck it. I mean, TB, they're getting paid $1 million a year. They might as well play the fucking schedule, right? Like, you imagine the cinema. Could you imagine the cinema though having like all these teams play up until like the national championship on college campuses? What that would be like playing January football. You imagine if Kentucky had a game like that in December or something. Holy shit, it'd be great.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good stuff. Let's wrap it up. Final shots. Davo, start with you, brother. Go. You're on mute.
Sorry. I don't have a lot to talk about. Obviously, Christmas is coming up in a few days. Just make sure if you're traveling, travel safe. Spend time with the family and loved ones, because, like I said, you just never know. So always take care of your loved ones. Always remember that it's a lot funner to give than to receive, right? And just always kind of remember, the reason why we celebrate the season at the end of the day. And whatever you do, don't let 18, 19, 20-year-old in college ruin your holidays coming up. Just kind of enjoy it and spend time with your family. So.
Thank you, sir. TB, final shot.
Absolutely. Happy holidays from the middle of the country, from Iowa. So everybody take care of each other and, Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. I think I've covered everything. Is it Ramadan? Is that what's going on? Diwali's going on.
Yeah, it's Diwali.
Yeah, there we go. I want to make sure I cover all bases because TB loves the kids.
Appreciate you, brother. Paul, final shot, man.
Try not to die playing Call of Duty all week. I'm just kidding. Honestly, just enjoy the holiday, be safe, don't do anything stupid. Remember that family is the most important reason for everything. So, enjoy your time and Happy New Year.
Yes.
It's one more time around the sun, so we're all blessed for it.
Good stuff, brother. Adam, final shot, man.
Yeah. first of all, thank you so much for having me. Love being on here. Love talking with everybody.
you. Thank
Really
you, bud.
appreciate you all. Happy holidays from New York. Obviously, we're the best place to spend holidays because we have this big Christmas tree that's a big Christmas tree, sure, and everything. But no, I just want to say honestly, like as the year closes, as holiday seasons wrapping up and everything like that, as we start a new year, I just want to give advice and just say like really realize who the real people are in your life. I was talking with one of my friends today, and he was telling me about all these crazy stories and all this stuff, and some of the stuff that he was doing just didn't really align with what I believe in. So kind of align yourself with people that believe in the same values that you believe in. I know that's very hard to do in this day and age, and sometimes you're going to have to keep your circle small, but at the end of the day, like find people that match your energy, find people that believe in what you believe in, find the good people, and sometimes it'll just come to you rather than you having to look for the good people. Be close to your family. I love being home with my parents, and families coming by and everything like that, but just be close to your family. Remember all the good people in your life. Stay true to yourself. And as always, go Cats, and appreciate you all again.
Good stuff, man. It's
Go
very,
Cats.
very inspiring.
This is the most inspirational round of shots. I love it, baby.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yes, from Round of Shots, wishing everyone a very happy Christmas. Merry Christmas, I should say. Happy. Merry Christmas. The new year, I'm not sure if I'm doing a show next Sunday, but we'll get that figured out. All right, for Davo, TB, Paul, and Adam, Round of Shots signing off. Cats, have a good week. Happy holidays.
Peace out.
See you guys. See ya.
Later. See you.